Hello and welcome back to Sergeant Major Sit Rep. Thanks for tuning in last week. Thanks for the content that you're sending me on these things. Um, we're going to keep moving along here with the current theme, but this week I want to talk about the socialist capture of the Democrat Party. I'm not calling it a takeover like mainstream media. Takeover is a little strong. That implies other things that are probably in play but haven't materialized yet. What I want to really talk about is not a formal takeover, but what they've done, in my opinion, is has been operationally more effective, and that's to exploit the Democrat ballot process. They've gotten into all the activism infrastructure, the union manpower. They're capitalizing on the low turnout primaries. You know, we always midterms are always a low turnout, so that's one of the things that we look at. So those are the issues that, regardless of party, that's the issues we look at as political people. We're looking at access to money, infrastructure, what manpower, turnouts. Turnouts generally win elections. So if your party comes to the polls, you'll win. Even with the cheating can be beaten by turnout. So that's a big thing. Um, Now, what the DSA has done, um, I really can't pick out their doctrine yet, other than these few simple things. They've capitalized on the Democrat doctrine of the big tent. We're all inclusive. We're going to let everybody in. And just to show you what we've spoken about many, many times, when you have open borders, you get infiltrators. With infiltrators, you get internal change. With internal change, the original landholder is now disenfranchised. And that's exactly what's happened with the Democrat Party. Their own policy agenda let the enemy inside their wire because they didn't see him as an enemy. They saw him as a force multiplier. Radical Islam, the Socialist, the Bernie Bros, all these people, the AOCs. And I've spoken about it extensively in other shows, but I will say I'll get on my high horse for a little bit, and I'll tell you, 2022, Sergeant Major Sit Rep, I called this out. We saw it back then. We saw working family party candidates elected to the state house, and we saw it in the House, the Senate. We saw their major candidates go down in flames, but we did get seats taken by working families party communist supporters, and many of those are still in office, and their numbers are growing. That's just in Arizona. So nationwide, they have built on this doctrine of infiltration for the final takeover. Now, when does that happen? Who knows? It's not speculation. The DSA and the Working Families Party, Justice Democrats, Sunrise Movement, they describe their strategies in their own publications. And if you're not reading the enemy's literature and you're not communicating with the enemy in a manner that you should be, in an infiltrative manner, you're going to lose. So they put all this out there, and I'm not going to go over the websites again, but I'll tell you, it's the Working Families Party, Let's Rejuvenate, all these offshoot organizations, especially the ones that AOC, Jay Powell, Bernie Sanders, they're all a part of, the Elizabeth Warrens. The Democrat Party, they opened their border to this, and now they're going to suffer. You have Chuck Schumer, who at one time was considered a very strong Democrat because he got things done. Same with Nancy Pelosi. They got things done. Whether we liked what they were doing or not, they were getting things done. That's because their party coalesced around them and they had their own force multipliers. That's gone. Their party, even their moderates, and there are Democrat moderates, have been pushed so far to the left to accommodate these people. They're might as well be the same. Now, Arizona, I made an ex post on this. Katie Hobbs and the mainstream media, and shout out to Garrett Lewis for calling me and put me on the radio program out of the blue, sitting out at the park, getting ready to do kids football practice, got all the things going, homework, football practice. Garrett Lewis calls me, wants me to do a hit on the show based on my post. So I'm like, yeah, I can squeeze that in. Let's do it. So he rightfully called out what the mainstream media won't. Governor Hobbs picks a running mate for vice governor or lieutenant governor. The mainstream media took her narrative and ran with it and said, Governor Hobbs picks former Republican mayor as running mate. This guy is not a Republican. The show's not about him. You can look him up. John Giles, he supported every crazy liberal, nonsensical idea. He spoke at the DNC convention for Kamala Harris. He backed Little Rubin, Spaceballs Mark Kelly, voted for Harris, registered independent so he could vote on a Democrat ticket. The guy is not a Republican, but the mainstream media, they just lapped that up and regurgitated it, and we called him out for it. So let me get back to the word takeover. When you take something over, that requires a strategy and precision. It hasn't been precise. The strategy is clear, but their execution of the strategy still remains numerically smaller on the national level. But their encroachment is obvious. You have Al Said winning, you have all these other people winning and taking out establishment Democrats, while Republicans run their same candidates. And we'll see in the general election if the Republicans hold on or if the DSA gets enough of the young vote, the college vote, the uneducated vote, the Democrat vote that will never vote Republican no matter what. But they don't need a majority membership. They're exercising disproportionate influence within those groups, these control group of candidates in pipeline. They have discipline activists, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, all these groups that are pushing this agenda. But more importantly, like I stated when I first opened the show, they have access to the Democrat ballot lines. So they're challenging establishment Democrats and taking them out, picking them off one by one by one. Now you have no choice. You either vote for the Republican or the communist. And we're not calling Democrat Socialist America. It is what it is. They are flaming communist. But before we continue, I want to tell you about Sound Money. This is a new partner of the show. These guys have kind of reimagined what only gold and precious metals. We've talked about metals on this show. I work in rare earth metals, but here's the thing. They have made it the process super easy for everyone. No phone calls, no sales pitch, nothing. You're in control. You can get real physical gold, silver, starting at $1. No electronic fund, no paper certificate, real metal gold that you can put in your hand or you can put in a vault and secure it for later. Your metals are delivered securely, insured, private in Idaho, verified by third-party audits. You get free storage up to your first $500. Your account includes vaulted insurance storage up to $500 in metals at zero cost. When you outgrow it, you simple one-time $199 upgrade. And here's the cool thing. It's liquid when you need it. You don't have to go find someone to buy it. You sell your holding back to the dashboard and you have instant cash right there in your hand. You want to hold it in your hand. You don't trust a vault system. You know, some people are like that, but the metals vault system is the way of the future. It's going to happen. You got to research it and get around it because it is the way. Now, if you're still skeptical, you can order it up, have it delivered to your door, hold it in your hand. Physical shipment. The whole thing is covered, all insured. You get it in your hand. Visit Sound Money at Talk Red. Sound Money Talk Red. Again, I'm going to put it on the screen so you can see it. Sound Money /Talk Red, and go there, take a look, buy you some gold, get it in your hand, put it in the vault. No matter what you want to do with it, it's yours. It's real. It's there, and you'll win. Okay. So the Democrats have really done something unique here, and their big tent, their unsecured perimeter big tent, no borders, Um, what they've done is their leaders have treated an ideological exclusion as intolerance. So the best way I can describe that, and not a lot of you probably follow Kazakh news, but Kazakhstan, they're still under Soviet control. And yes, I say Soviet control because it is what it is, under, quote, Russian influence. But Kazakhstan is a primarily Muslim country. And you ask yourself, okay, they're like typical Muslims. No, they are not like typical Muslims. So their government has come out and said there will be no forced burqa requirements. That's something in their culture, going back to the Soviet days and beyond, that they never did. That was not part of their cultural upbringing with their religious belief. Now, of course, they use the Quran, they do all the things, they celebrate certain holidays, but no prayer in the streets, none of this nonsense. Because why? It doesn't match their ideological, um, cultural upbringing. So this push to enforce all this Sharia and the burqas and the call to prayer and all the things, the beard growing, by the mandatory beard growing by the males, Kazakhstani government says no, we're not doing all that. You want to be a Muslim? Fine, be a Muslim. You want to be a Christian? You want to be whatever, but we're not playing those games. The Democrat Party omitted that. They didn't vet anybody. Their real failure was intentional refusal to understand or establish any kind of boundaries of who could get in their party. Typically, we're the ones guilty of that. We'll take a reformed, quote, reformed Democrat that wants to register as a Republican, and boom, they register today and they vote Democrat. Um, we'll take PCs. We'll take anybody that wants to sign on the dotted line, and that's typically our fault because they turn out to be infiltrators or problematic. They don't understand the Republican Party platform. They don't want to commit to bylaws. They want to change the bylaws. Those kind of things are typically our downfall. The Democrats took it a step further and said, okay, you can still be a Democrat socialist because it has the word Democrat in it. So we're going to go ahead and take you in. You can be part of the coalition. You can be part of the team. So the DSA, they've learned this, and they've learned to use the Democrat ballot line. I've said that 3 times now, and I want to explain it better because this is what's critical. They've taken public ownership and control of major corporations' natural resources. This is what they want to do. So they have the ballot line. They're getting on the ballot. They're getting elected to office, and this is what they want to do. They want freedom of migration without restrictive immigration controls, open borders, ending immigration detention, no ICE and no detention, no deportation. They want voting rights for all people. That includes illegals, non-citizens. They want a major reduction in the U.S. military, and they want to pack the Supreme Court, remove the Senate, and limit the powers of the president to ministerial duties. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can go to the DSA website and look at DSA 2526 program because they have written this down. And the Democrat Party still allowed these knuckleheads to get into their system, get on the ballots as a Democrat, not as a Democrat socialist, but as a Democrat. They're running in place of the Democrats. So, yes, it looks like a takeover on paper, but they've not fully taken over the party apparatus, and that's what they need. And once they get enough people in office, once they get enough people in within the Democrat Party, then their strategy of takeover will become real because they can start outvoting these people in their committees. Their PCs won't have say anymore because they'll be overruled by these communists. Um, it's political fusion warfare. You recruit and endorse a candidate, and I was accused of interfering in our election here because I recruited candidates to run for my seat as I'm not running anymore. So I picked 5 people, 4 people ran, 2 people I end up endorsing. I liked a third, but I didn't see the work ethic in the campaign, not due to lack of effort, but due to time constraints. So I picked the 2 people most likely to succeed and carry forth the Republican Party agenda of lower taxes, smaller government, stewardship of the land, these things that I know they will do. Education. Now, the other ones, they said they would commit to that, but there were other side projects and other things going on. So that makes me an election influencer if you recruit and endorse candidates. Now, that's the job of the PCs. That's the job of the party. But the party wasn't doing it. The Democrats, they do that very well. And that's where they slipped up in the last couple of years, because it wasn't the Democrat apparatus picking the candidates like they typically do. It was these DSA infiltrators getting in and taking their candidates out. And the only way the Democrat Party can survive is becoming more leftist to try and match their crazy ideas. And that just keeps the pipeline moving to the left. So Justice Democrats, they emerged on the scene. They're part of the former Bernie's Bros movement, and they perfected the incumbent primary model. So you can say what you want about Bernie Sanders. The man is not an idiot. He has a vision. He has a strategy, but he is a devout communist and should not be in elected office. We should have removed him a long time ago. He can say what he wants to say. He has First Amendment freedom of speech rights, but he does not have the right to trounce the oath to the Constitution he took. He swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, like we all do. He is pushing a different form of government, not constitutional. So right there, I don't know why we're not using what rules we have in place to remove these people, but it was 26 June, 2018 election. AOC beat the House Democrat Caucus Chairman Joe Crowley. Low turnout, Democrat primary. You have young, vibrant, working class, barrel-chested, super smile, talks real good to the people when she needs to. She won. That should have been a clue to them right there. We saw it. We mentioned it in 22 that these squad members are starting a movement, and the Democrat Party kept pushing them aside. They get in battles with Nancy Pelosi. We called this. Who would think in 2025 that the Democrats would allow a Zoran Mondami to be anywhere near the ballot as a Democrat? His coalition was DSA, Working Family Party, Sunrise Movement, other progressive elected officials, young voters, Muslim political mobilization. That's what I really want to talk about. So the DSA movement and Mondami, the Sunrise Movement, they use anti-Israeli, pro-Palestinian organizations and messaging. That's part of their, Israel's bad, America's bad, everybody's bad, but we can fix it. So the Muslim political mobilization, you can call it, that is the Sunrise Movement. Now, the Sunrise Movement openly called for Mondami's victory as a roadmap. Now, if you look at the Sunrise Movement, they have former CARE leadership in there that was previously on the terror watch list. But yet we're listening to them. They're collecting money for these candidates. Now, CARE Action claimed that it helped mobilize turnout for Mondami. And they pressured Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries to endorse him. That was CARE. CARE is the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood is CARE. I ran those bills in the state of Arizona. Every single Democrat voted no. The governor refused to answer a letter that I sent her on CARE and to break contact with CARE. So these were memorials. They were sent to Washington, D.C. as postcard bills. That was also mocked by the Democrats. Well, he's running a bill that doesn't do anything. Well, if you understand the Constitution, you understand our form of government, we have a formal method of communication with our United States senators elected to office, and that is an HCM. So this is a formal memorandum in bill form that is sent to our Senate members and our House members to say, this is what your representatives in your state are demanding you take action on. And there's going to be a vote coming up to designate CARE a terrorist organization. And that postcard was sent. So every single one of our members in the House and the Senate on the Republican and Democrat side, because it goes to both parties, have been given a clear message that the body as a whole, Senate and House, and people that started this bill want CARE designated as a terrorist organization. So when they vote no on it in Congress, you'll know that we've asked them. And we've asked them in a manner that says we have the votes. The majority of the people have ruled. The majority of the majority have ruled. The 75 million people that put us in office have ruled, and we're telling you to vote in this manner. Now, whether they do not do that, who knows? The Democrats, we can call them out right now. They're not going to vote for it. So what's another force multiplier? You got it right if you're thinking in the same manner. So let me back up a little bit. So we've got the Democrat Socialist agenda pushers. You got Antifa. You got CARE. Guess who else? You called it. $27 million in the 24 cycle from, guess who? The National Education Association. The teachers union put $27 million in the DSA and their quote labor strategy for their DSA rank and file strategy. So the teachers union that we are fighting tooth and nail in Arizona put $27 million into the Democrat Socialist organization. You cannot make it up. Now, teachers unions supplied the money, supplied the manpower, institutional cover, supplied the ideology, and organizational doctrine. The Democrat Party, what did they have to supply? Nothing. The ballot line was infiltrated. So you have candidate one, that's your typical Democrat, nonsensical Democrat, that everything is all butterflies and happy and we need more taxes, blah, blah, blah. But then you have the communist. The teachers union used to support this one. Now the teachers union supports this one. This one takes this one out. So the moderate Democrat, gone. Who's in there? The communist. So they don't merely call for immigration reform through the teachers union. They push it into the classroom. And the lesson plan is out there from CARE. So CARE, and I think New Jersey and Connecticut, if I'm wrong, no, I am wrong. New Hampshire and New Jersey, the two news, they fully accepted the updated version of CARE's rendition of 9/11 and what really occurred. So the teachers union was able to get CARE's message put into schools. They're teaching that message at the same time they're putting money into the socialist networks and the DSA. And what do you have? There you go. You have it. Now, I want to show you a couple graphics, and I'm going to put them up there. We'll leave them up for a second while I'm running my jibs, but this will show you, and I've taken a lot of time to put these together, but this will show you the money flow from these organizations to the DSA structure and how they use that to take out the longstanding Democrats. So let's go with number one here. So you see the link chart diagram. That's number one. That's the flow of information, money, and influence. The next one, we'll throw it up here. Number two, association matrix. If there's an X or a C, there you can see from the matrix itself how these folks are associated and what arm does what work. If that doesn't scare you until you right there, they have a strategy in place for the takeover. They're not there yet, but they are working it. Now, veteran Democrats, they're just now sounding the alarm. They're just now figuring this out, that they're about to be captured. They're describing it as Nancy Pelosi. Well, we reject socialism, and it's not the Democrats' party position. And I got to call BS on it. They end up endorsing Mondami. A lot of them endorse Mondami just to save their seat. And who would have thought that John Fetterman from Pennsylvania would have actually been the honest voice on this? And his statement, verbatim, He said, Mandami, not even a Democrat, and his rise is a gift to Republicans. And then you have crazy James Carville. If you don't know who he is, you got to look him up. This old guy is absolute windbag, leftist nonsense. But he said the socialist police abolition proposals are lunacy at the highest level. And he warned if they swing to that, Democrats will be forced to answer, and Carville will walk away from the Democrat Party. Never in a million years would I have thought we saw James Carville say he's going to walk away from the Democrat Party. He's absolute leftist nut job that hates Trump, but he will walk away. I guess it is telling, he's a leftist nut job, but he's not a communist, and he sees what's coming. The guy's definitely not an idiot. He's a leftist, but not an idiot. And he's going to walk away from the party. So, second and third order effects of this. Socialist candidates, they're going to win safe Democrat primaries. Democrats are going to have to move to the left to avoid primary challenges. Police, border, law enforcement, Israel, capitalism, that's going to be their internal loyalty test, like ours. Our internal loyalty test, smaller government, lower taxes, market-free values, First and Second Amendment. That's kind of our baseline thought. Now, it's going to shift to anti-Israel, no borders, no police, packing the courts, and getting rid of the Senate. So that's first order. Second order is the working class, Hispanic, Jew, law enforcement, energy state voters. They're going to continue to leave the Democrat coalition. Do they vote Republican, or do they just get out? Do they just leave and not vote at all? Because if they do that helps the other side. So by leaving that party, they're actually going to help the DSA. Foreign policy positions are going to become more hostile toward everything that we're doing now. And I see long-term, just my own opinion, the Democrat Party splits between, I hate to say it like this, constitutional liberals, because there are some, and I hate to even call them out, and revolutionary socialists. Now, when I say constitutional liberal, they twist the Constitution in meaning they think it means what they believe. Like healthcare for all is a right. There's nowhere in the Constitution, but they will swear that that's what that clause means, that the taking care of the people means that everybody gets free healthcare. So at least they're reading the document. These socialists, they have already denounced the Constitution. They want to change it with their own, and they want to call it, they've got a couple of different names for it. You can see on the websites. But the socialist faction, they're going to destroy the Democrat Party. And you think that's a good thing for Republicans, which it may be. But if the Democrats break off and they decide they just can't vote Republican, they can't vote communist, and they get out of the races altogether and they just become on the side observers, low turnouts typically will favor the DSA, because your low turnouts, they're gonna go to colleges and they're gonna get the young people. They're going to get the disenfranchised Democrats that feel there's still hope in the party, and those numbers are going to be hard to beat. So they got a plan. They're working the plan. We'll see where it goes from there. So questions, comments. We'll throw some things on the screen here in the end. I want to make sure you have enough time to look at the charts and diagrams, because it spells it out clearly. I could sit here and talk about it all week, but these are known associations. I would love to make them click the link and look, but you can do that research on your own. Democrat Party's in trouble, and I can't say that I'm surprised or unhappy, but this is going to change how we do business as well. And it's going to change how conservatives approach these races. I hope, and this is my main concern with it. You'll have Republicans that will shift to the left, to keep their seat, because there are the political class out there. You know who they are. You see them that have been in politics their entire life, never had a real job. They will make that leftward shift. They'll vote on leftward bills that they can stomach just to stay in office so they don't get primaried. And that will be devastating for us. We've got to hold the line, remain constitutional, remain conservative, and take these whack jobs out before we end up with some kind of other situation that we don't want. So please, comments, questions, anything, put it in the comment line. I will, as always, be on live, and I will respond live for about the first hour. After that, you're on your own, but I do read and respond to all the comments. Again, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Be safe and train like they hate you, because they do.